Prime Minister Trudeau, I think, has made a huge mistake. He has made allegations in a manner which he hasn't been able to back. There's two possibilities here. Either he was shooting from the hip and he doesn't have the evidence to support the accusations he made against the Indian government, or there is something there, in which case he needs to explain why his government was sheltering a terrorist with blood on his hands.
Now, there has been some reporting about, how weeks before the world leaders were to meet in Delhi, Canada did approach its allies to jointly raise this issue at the summit. Do you think there was some kind of a discussion like that and, the allies stepped back and didn't do that?
Well, as a former consumer of intelligence, I can say that oftentimes the intelligence we see, whether it's a telephone intercept or something else, isn't as black and white, isn't as cut and dry as oftentimes politicians want it to become. I mean, certainly that was the case with regard to the Iraq War. So when you have a situation like this, perhaps Prime Minister Trudeau raised the issue, but there wasn't necessarily consensus on what it meant. And regardless, let's not fool ourselves. Nijjar Sindh, let's not fool ourselves. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was not simply a plumber any more than Osama bin Laden was a construction engineer. He had blood on his hands through multiple attacks, and therefore, while Secretary of State Blinken may after the fact say that the United States will always stand against transnational repression, we're actually being hypocritical if Secretary Blinken makes that statement, because after all, what we're talking about isn't transnational repression. We're talking about transnational terrorism, and what the United States did to Qasem Soleimani and what the United States did to Osama bin Laden is really no different than what India is alleged to have done in this case.
Right. Now, you did mention in your opening remarks about, there are no facts, there is no evidence that Trudeau has really come out with. In the days ahead, if this surfaces, how convinced are you that the allies, including the US, is convinced with Trudeau's theory?
I'm not sure that the allies are convinced with Trudeau's theory or that they interpret the importance of the matter to the same degree that Justin Trudeau does. First of all, let's give one analogy. When Jamal Khashoggi was killed in Istanbul, the Turks were able to provide intelligence support right away, which is why the world rallied around Saudi Arabia in this case. But Justin Trudeau, again, he seemed to have shot from the hip. He hasn't been able to release any definitive intelligence. And as time goes on, it raises the question about whether there's any there. When Justin Trudeau says, "Trust me," no one trusts him in the best of times, all the more so against the backdrop of an election campaign he's presently losing. And so this is the reason why there is such great doubt or caution on the part of the United States and the other Five Eyes community.